This is Joel Rosenberg for All Israel News. We're right on the border of Gaza and about to head in to Khan Yunis, the largest city on the southern border, the southern section of the Gaza Strip, where we'll be speaking to Brigadier General Dan Goldfus and touring some of the places that Israel has done some of its most intense fighting. And I'll be briefing you along the way right here for All Israel News. Going into Gaza with me was Chris Mitchell, the Jerusalem bureau chief for CBN News, and my TBN cameraman shooting material for the Rosenberg report. The destruction we saw was apocalyptic. Hundreds of houses destroyed or severely damaged. Why? Because every single one of them contained Hamas fighters, weapons, and ammunition. The IDF took us into the very center of Khan Yunis, the city where the fighting has been so intense for the last 2 months. They took us into newly discovered terror tunnels never seen by reporters before. Long, narrow, hot, humid, and deep. The tunnels went down 25 meters, some 7 stories, about 75 feet below Khan Yunis. We were led by IDF Brigadier General Dan Goldfus, who's in charge of the fight to secure Khan Yunis, hunt down Hamas leaders, and liberate hostages. The general was with us every step of the way, and he took us into the very epicenter of evil. Soon I was standing in one of the very cages where at least 12 Israeli hostages were held up to very recently. I have to say it was a surreal moment to wake up in Jerusalem and then in a few hours later to be standing in this epicenter of evil. It was hard to process, but that wasn't all. Next, the general showed us the quarters where senior Hamas commanders, very likely including Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas terror master in Gaza, where they worked, where they slept, ate, and where Yahya Sinwar commanded this war for the last 4 months. The general told us directly he believes Sinwar was in those very tunnels. And it was clear that these Hamas leaders had been forced to leave quickly once the IDF came surging and fighting into the tunnels. And in each section, the general explained what we were seeing and answered our questions.
If anybody in the world needs evidence for the horrific actions that the terror entity Hamas has done, you're in it. You're in this evidence. From this place over here, at least 3 hostages were released. At least 3 hostages were released. And at least 3 hostages spent time in here. So if the world needs any evidence at all, if anybody needs any evidence to the horrific action that was taken by the Hamas, we're in it again.
Can you describe what's above us right now?
Above us is 25 meters of ground, gravel, houses. We've been walking and walking and walking and walking. We've changed the neighborhood. We're in a different neighborhood that we entered. We'll have the ability to go back. I would say somewhat doubtful privilege of walking back through the tunnels all the way out to emerge to the upper world. And this is where the hostages were held.
How many hostages were held in this cell?
Manatun. So at least 12 hostages were held here. At least 12.
So we only identified 3 that were held in here? That's why we're saying 3 names?
I'm saying 3 were released from here.
I see.
Okay. We're not giving any other names. Do you understand why? Yes.
Could you describe
Has this ever been done?
This has never been done as far as I know in the history of the world, of the military of the world. It's the first time. We are living it day in, day out, learning day in, day out, making mistakes, moving back, moving again, synchronizing between over, top, down, under, trying to maneuver, trying to have an effect on each other, moving quickly underground, slowing down, flanking, underground and overground, and it's all connected with each other. It's complex, it's a challenge, but as the IDF has always done, and the 98th Division has always done, we meet that challenge. We put our minds together to meet that challenge. The challenge is ongoing, and our mission is to dismantle the Hamas, bring back our kidnapped, and bring security to the state of Israel.
Did you specifically your forces have to fight into this tunnel, or by the time you got here, had Hamas fled?
We fought in the tunnels, not only one tunnel, in the tunnels, we fought in the tunnels, we fought to take ground underground. And that's part of what we did, and that's part of the difficulty. Evident to such a horrific action that this horrifying terror entity as Hamas has taken. And if we look around, and I've asked many questions about the price that Gaza, Khan Yunis pays, the houses. Yeah, definitely there's a price that has been paid. But look around you. We've walked in a tunnel that's under this neighborhood. And we've walked and walked and walked for almost a kilometer. And we walked around and we found a compound, another compound, another compound. We found weapons. We found a cage. We're kidnapped. We're in it. Kidnapped civilians, women, children. A 1-year-old child was in there. We are fighting a just war. On the 7th of October, we were attacked, a savage attack. This is a just war. And we will win this war with patience and with stubbornness from every meter overground and underground. And my message to the world is patience. But the fighting here is not only between Israel and Gaza. This is a fight between the free world, a world that believes in freedom, in human rights, in humanity, in life, to terrorists who believe in death and both death and death and death.
It's been an extraordinary day, walking through Hamas terror tunnels, actually standing in the cages where Israeli hostages were held. Some were released free, but so many, 136 are still being held. We got to continue to pray. We're going to pray for the redemption of this land, both Israelis and Palestinians. We got to pray for the liberation of Gaza from Hamas, from the reign of terror of Hamas. We got to pray for, obviously, the liberation of the hostages. We got to pray for victory. We've got to pray that the Lord gives wisdom to Israeli leaders to know what to do next. What do you do next? Even after we win, and we will win, and we will win soon. But where does it all go next? We'll keep reporting on this for All Israel News. I'm Joel Rosenberg in the Gaza Strip in Khan Yunis. Keep praying.